What really blows my mind about being child free, and for those of you who are single, those of us who are unmarried and don't want to get married, we have a lot of people nitpicking at us for our choices. And it is crazy to get this type of hatred from other women. But what's crazier than other women is men. And the craziest part about them is that the vast majority of the men who have the most negative things to say are men who are either married or in long term relationships with someone, some unsuspecting, unlucky woman. So, if you ever wonder why married men have so much to say about what single and child free women are doing, I'll break it down for you because it's very mind boggling. But when I sit down and really think about why married men, they're supposed to be happily married, they're supposed to be off doing their husbandly duties and taking care of a family and loving their wife. Instead of doing that, they got their nose in child free single women's business. And I'll tell you why, because I thought about this. First and foremost, men project. I say all the time, about 98% of anything that comes out of the vast majority of men's mouth is projection. In every which way from Sunday, they're projecting. Anything that they say, you can sit there and analyze word for word, sentence for sentence. And I guarantee if you really add the projection point to it, you will see exactly where they're projecting. They're not even crafty, a lot of them, with how they project. It's so freaking obvious to people like me. So a lot of these married men, they look around and they see these child-free women living their best lives, traveling, enjoying our cats, enjoying dogs, you know, living life. And it reminds them of the freedom that they gave up. So instead of saying, dang, I wish I could be that way, dang, maybe I rushed into marriage or kids, they just go out of their way to project their fears and insecurities off on us. They criticize us because it is a lot easier for them to attack the choices that we made for our lives than for them to admit the fact that they regret their own lives and their own choices. The second thing is that men like to police women's bodies, police our bodies and our choices and everything. So it's all about control for them. When you think about the patriarchy and how it was built on the idea that women only exist to be baby factories and to get married to men and like be controlled by a man. When we go out and say, no, I'm good, I don't want to do that, this threatens the entire patriarchal system. And this is a system that only men benefit from, by the way. So it's threatening to them. And so when you hear them complaining about it, it's really them just trying to force us back to the 60s or the 50s or the 20s or, back to a time when we didn't have rights, we couldn't vote and things of that nature. They really just want to put us right back into a box. Then you got to think about how insecure they are. So a lot of men are insecure. If I had to make up a number in my own head about how many men are as insecure as they are, I would literally say mid to high 90 percentile of them are extremely insecure. And so insecure people like to compare themselves to other people. So when you as a child free and or single woman highlight your freedom, when you're out here making videos about your travels and how you're cooking steaks for your dogs and things like that, it highlights to them what they don't have. We can literally come and go as we please while they are stuck listening to their quote unquote nagging wife and having to look after kids. Instead of admitting that they're really just jealous of us, they tell us stuff like, oh, you're going to die alone with your cats, oh, you're going to regret it one day. And it's like, sir, you're mad because you regret your life now. And that's just the reality of it. It's also cultural conditioning, the way men have been conditioned in the patriarchy. They've been told and brainwashed to believe, like I love saying, their entire lives that marriage and being a father is the like real path to manhood, the same way women have been told the same thing. You have to have a wife and kids, and then you can get promoted in a job, and you're seen as a man in the patriarchy, and blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to have a woman to submit to you. And if you can get a harem of women or women that even just want to be with you, then you're a real man. You're an alpha. They get told this stuff in one way or another. And so when we choose to be single and child free and all that stuff, it's almost like they feel like we're rejecting them. And in a way, we really are. But it's really our choice. It's not really personal towards them. We're just doing what's best for us. But they take it as a personal rejection. I'm talking about men who never stood a snowball's chance in hell at getting with the vast majority of like top tier women to begin with. It's almost like some hideous bum on social media saying you don't qualify to be a wife. You're not wifey material. And it's like, sir, you never had a shot at me choosing you in the first place. What the hell are you talking about? But they literally take that as a personal rejection. And they have a hard time separating our choices from their identity. So they lash out at us. Another thing is men live in fear. Okay? They fear each other, they fear rejection, they fear non-survival, they fear not having enough money. They fear so many things. They fear coming out with their true sexuality. Men live in constant fear all day, every day. That's why they're always like peacocking and trying to puff out their chest and make it seem like they're bigger than what they are. And they're this alpha male. They only feel valuable if women, quote unquote, need them as a husband, as a so-called protector and a provider. When we are out here living our lives and making our own money and showing them that we can do this on our own, it makes them feel disposable. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. Most men are disposable. So the feeling that they have is valid because most of them are disposable. And case in point, if you look around and pay attention to how women are becoming CEOs and entrepreneurs, and we're traveling and we're living child free, and we live alone, and there's women out here buying homes and all that stuff, right? It's like you need to come at us being a good, decent man. Otherwise, we don't have to choose you. And so in that regard, they are disposable because we don't need you if you're not going to come correct. And they know it. They feel it on an instinctual level. And instead of working on themselves and being better people, they just complain. They just walk around all day to get on podcasts. They be at the barbershop, the locker room talk. They just complain about us all day instead of doing the inner work. So that's really it. That's really all there is to it. The next time you hear any married man or any man with a girlfriend, but mostly married men, when you hear them complaining about child-free women, single women, women who don't want to get married, remember that it doesn't have anything to do with us. Almost nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with their own insecurities, their own dissatisfaction in life, the way they've been conditioned in society, in the patriarchy, and nothing to do with us. It's just plain old envy and jealousy. And it is so crazy that a lot of men think we have it easier. And if you were to ask men, how do women have it easier, they're only going to say one major thing and maybe two things. They're going to talk about how it's going to always go back to smex, right? How women can use our looks and use our bodies and play a damsel in distress to get money from men and to get attention from men. Because that's all they care about. That's all they can think about. Just like, they automatically assume that when a woman leaves a relationship that she's going to go ride some other man's peen. And it's like, no, that's what you would do. This has nothing to do. They always project. Just because we have a bunch of men lined up to date us, they think that we're going to turn around and F all those men. They think we actually want any of those men. So they're always projecting that. So it always has to do with that one thing, sex, if you were to ask them, how do you think women got it easier? Because most men are insanely jealous of the fact that women can sleep with who we want to sleep with, and men sleep with who they can sleep with. And if you really understand that basic level of jealousy, you will understand where that projection comes from. We can literally go get laid with whoever. They have to hope and worry about being rejected, because many of times they will end up getting rejected more than they get accepted. So that's where that comes from. The second thing they may say is, the court favors women over men when it comes to getting custody of their kids, which we all know is a lie. We all know that's a lie. The main reason why women end up with custody is because she's the only one who typically wants custody. Anytime a man claims he wants custody, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, it is because he's trying to hurt that woman, and or he's trying to get out of paying child support to that woman. That is it. Very rarely do men actually want even partial custody, let alone full custody, because them having to be accountable for their kids mean they can't go chase skirts. They can't go out in the streets. They can't go hang out with their boys when they want to. They can't move like a single bachelorette, or sorry, not bachelor, a single bachelor type of man. They can't do that, and they know that. And so that's why. If you ask any of them, did you go to court and fight for custody and you lost it? Like a judge actually did not award you that? The vast majority of them are going to tell you no, because they didn't go to court. And sometimes they'll tell you yes, and they're lying. They didn't go to court and lose custody. They didn't go to court at all. And that's just one example. But that's really all they have to say when they talk about how women got it easier. You're bowling and they have those like side bumpers for kids. That's literally what men have in society. And they still can't knock those pins down. They still can't get out here and be successful. So it just proves that the vast majority of them shouldn't have never made it into the world. Because had women been given a choice back then to choose the best men instead of being programmed into giving a brother a chance, the vast majority of them wouldn't even be here. Their genes, their genetics are subpar as fuck. That just proves it. I'm just putting that out there. But anyway, those are my thoughts. If you ever wonder why married men are in single child-free women's business, that is why. It's all envy, jealousy, regret, and also you hold a mirror up to them and remind them of the life that they no longer have and will probably never have forever. But anyway, make sure you hit subscribe, like, and share. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.
All together, girls. 1, 2, 3. Fuck these men on the internet. They don't know what they want, but they will see what they can get. Oh, go and waste your one and only precious life while pretending not to have a full receding hairline. So keep your eyes on his hairline and your hand on your drink. For all you know, he is a psychopath. He'll leave you on red, and he won't care if you're dead. And the psychics on TikTok are